Hey folks, it's time for a new project in Universal Audio's Luna. We're running 1.0.7 for this one. That's the brand new update if you want to follow along. There will be a link below for the session files, and there's a separate link as well for this exact Luna project if you just wanted to start exactly where I'm starting here. The reason I say that is because there's a couple things going on here that we need to talk about first. Let's go ahead and get started on talking about that right fast, because this is a very typical project in that if you have someone send you a project and it's full of files and you open them up and you try to figure out what's going on, how things were recorded, and you kind of have to go through the mystery of figuring out what's in phase and what's out of phase. If you open this up from the beginning, let me open up one example here. A snare up, I think, is what comes for you. Yeah, let's take a look at this right fast. This will be the original file that comes to you, the snare up, and this is really common. This is a stereo file, but if we focus in on this a little bit here, let me drag this, let me take off snap, and we'll zoom in a little farther, and what you will find is that this is not a stereo file. Basically, it's a mono file that someone has sent as a stereo file. And while that's okay, it's probably a lot better for the overall sound of this to just go ahead and make that mono again. The way you would do that is to come up to the track, convert to mono, and just get rid of one of the two sides, left or right. So what I've done is I've kept one of those sides. Also, we have a couple things going on with phase relationships, which are really common in especially drum recordings, where a couple things are out of phase. So be sure to check that when you're starting up. Usually when I start these videos, I go through a whole initial thing of checking phase, doing gain staging, routing, etc. And what I've done in this particular video is skip that. So we're just going to go ahead and go on to mixing, because if you're confused about that, you can go watch some other videos or ask questions in the comments, and we'll help you along. If you wanted to start with a completely fresh project, as if you had an assistant who did all that stuff for you, that's in the download link below too. It's a Dropbox link. Okay, so let's get started here. This is a reggae song, and if I play a bit of it for you, let me start at the beginning. I've put a little bit of pre-roll here at the beginning so that it's not just coming right in. I'm going to go ahead and do some quick rough mixing.
Run, 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 Babylon I go come. Run, 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 Babylon I go come. Run, 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 and I go run. Run, 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 him run. Babylon I go come. Babylon, Babylon, Babylon I go come. Ooh, Babylon, they coming to take it. Ooh, take it away. Ooh, so you better run, run, run. Babylon I go come.
Okay, great. You'll notice at the top of the project here, I've got some notes for the intro, sort of a long chorus it starts with, I think. That's what I'm calling it anyway. There's a verse, another chorus, that's real short, verse, chorus, blah, blah, blah. And the out over here, they just sort of die out. So let me play that ending so you hear what I'm talking about. Right, so that's going to be an interesting thing to work with at the end. Let's go ahead and grab this beginning section here. I'm going to zoom in a bit and do a little bit of fading into it. So that means I'm going to grab all of these all the way up to there, and I'm going to hit the F key. That's going to make a fade on each one of these all the way up. Now, if I actually change the curve of this, they all change as well. So I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm gonna start making some buses here for routing from sub. And I'm gonna feed all of these into that. I'm gonna do the same thing for the bass. Make sure that that bass is being fed to that sub. Let's go to the guitars, do the same.
Run, run, run. Babylon a go come. Run, run, run. Babylon a go come. Run, run, run. Him run. Wicked man a go run. Run, 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 him run. Babylon a go come. Babylon, Babylon, Babylon a go come. Ooh, Babylon. They're coming to take it. Ooh, take it away. Ooh, so you better run, run, run. Babylon go come. Did the wicked man a come. Babylon a come.
Okay, everything is routed to its proper place and it's all being fed to a main right now. I'm going to fix that though. I'm going to make this into a mix bus. Okay, let's take a listen to that now without any summing on it whatsoever, just to see if we really want that or not.
Run, run, run. Babylon a go come.
And I definitely do. All right, so let's put some tape on this because this is a roots reggae song, and I'm not a connoisseur of reggae, but what I have listened to in the past, you know, obviously Bob Marley, Ziggy, all the kids from the Marley family, Black Guru, even Burning Spear, some of the modern stuff. It's a very, very high-end production. Usually they are extremely clean in the effects they use. When I say clean, I mean that you can hear the effects. They're not like, you know, pushed into the mix so that they're discrete. If there's an effect, you're going to hear that effect, especially any delays or reverbs. And they have a very warm sound to them, what I'm used to hearing anyway. And so we're going to get that from the tape machine.
Run, run, run. Babylon a go come. Run, run, run.
Yeah, that sounds great right there. So I'm not going to mess with it. You'll notice that it's already got compression. It's got some harmonics. It's got some EQ happening because of the summing, because of the tape machines. That makes my life so much easier. So when this routing already going on here, I'm going to take a listen to a couple of individual sections, like the group of drums, And I'm going to make some mental notes while I'm listening to these being added in as to what we can do later to make the mix come together.
Babylon, they're coming to take it, ooh, take it away. So you better run, run, run. Babylon, I go come. Say the wicked man, I come. Babylon, Babylon, I come. You better run. Said the wicked man, I come. Babylon, Babylon.
These snare hits that are actually not part of the drum kit, they're overdubbed later. Sounds like there might be some reverb on them. Yep, that's something to remember when we get to processing these. Also, there are some muted tracks here that they're labeled as lead vocals raw takes, and I've left them in only because let's take a look over here right fast. I'll tell you why I'm leaving those in. If we pull these open and make them a little larger here, the lead vocal was called lead vox comped, and you can tell that some of these phrases are obviously from, like, this phrase is from this take, and this phrase is from another. However, since they have these in here, they actually make some really great opportunities to have background vocals. Like if I were to leave some of these in, like these two, I'll leave this one in for this first section so you can hear what they sound like, all with like a background vocal.
Run, run, run. Babylon, I go come.
Now let's try that again without some of those background vocals.
Run, run, run.
So I'm going to use those to the advantage of this mix while we go. So I'm leaving them in the mix. I'm just muting them right now. Okay, so in the next video, what we'll do is we'll start with the rhythm section, drums and the bass, and get those really solid, and then we'll probably head over to the vocals and do that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. Real excited about this new project. So hit those download links below if you want the original files. They will be in the first link, and then there will be a Dropbox link with actually this Luna project. You can just open up in Luna the way I have it. I appreciate all your views, likes, and comments. Please hit subscribe, and more videos coming very soon.